Oldham County, and is now the fourth longest-serving judge executive in the nearly 200-year history of our great county. His career has mostly been in financial services and insurance for 30 years, but he originally came here from Minnesota in 1972 to work for Wave TV, where he and Bob Kay were the anchors at midday news. And Ray Simpson's just brought him a 50-year-old book featuring him from Wave TV, which is kind of pretty cool there. All right, so let him show him that after the meeting. And then in '76, he left television and went to Jefferson County School Board, where he was a spokesman for Superintendent E.C. Grayson. That seems like forever ago. And a 12-member Board of Education, 6 of the county and 6 of the city during the second and third years of the merger and desegregation. He's a graduate of the University of Minnesota.
Go Gophers.
I didn't understand what you said at first. It didn't sound right. All right. Army Reserve, Kentucky Air Guard, a 32-member of Rotary, president in 92-93 of our club. He's also well known for being the brother-in-law of Mayor John Black. And between the two of them, they are really trying to take over all of Oldham County.
Wow.
And he's married to John's sister, Mary Lee. They have 2 grown daughters, 1 grandson who, I don't even think this is right. His name Dave Voegele. Yeah. And as far as accomplishments, well, you just have to wait till his obituary comes out to find out anything more about him. Dave, come on up. Right now, you're controlling them. Okay. You want me to?
Yeah, forget the lights. I want to thank Ray. Brought me a book when I worked at Wave back in the mid-'70s. Bob Kay and I put out 3 cookbooks that were actually given away at the state fair. Ray still has one of these 50 years later. I think Ray is retired now, aren't you, Ray? So, no more worrying about the big hitter or the tiger or Gary Becker. Remember those guys? They were all competitors. So thank you very much for bringing this. And I think all the recipes are still good. At least I hope they are. We tried to put together a PowerPoint in my office this morning. I'm not sure it's going to. Now, some of it's going to work, some of it's not. Maybe we'll see what happens. There's some people in here who were in the club when I was here, and who are, I'm sure, will agree with the statement that it was easier to be 25 in the 1970s than 75 in the 2020. So a lot of things have happened, and I think we got this right. First thing I want to mention that is not on the PowerPoint. The biggest project we have going right now is with AT&T. By the end of March next year, everybody in this county will have the opportunity to have high-speed broadband access at their home. AT&T is going by every home. If you want their service, they will bring it right to your home with no extra cost, regardless of how long your driveway is. We run into that problem with Spectrum. Well, I want it. It goes by the front of the house, but they want $3,500 to bring it down the driveway. Not the case with AT&T. We negotiated a contract to bring it to everyone's home. You don't have to buy it. You can stay with Spectrum or Elton Musk's program, but if you want it, it's going to be there no later than the end of March next year. It's surprising a lot of people in the county have broadband, but a lot do not. So that was the biggest complaint we've had in the last several years. I'm glad we've got it fixed. Thank you. You will see here, if you go by the courthouse, I'm sure most of you are driving by from time to time. It finally came out of the ground. When I was club president, we had a project to beautify the courthouse grounds. It started in '93. We didn't get finished till '97. So I've had a lot of experience, taking a long time to fix the courthouse, but this wasn't actually any of our fault. We had to redo the plan several times when it came out. People wanted to stick with the old building as part of the project, and the plans are redone. COVID came up. group in Frankfurt that has to approve the final hurdle to get over. Did not meet for 9 months when COVID was underway. So there were a lot of things that drug it out. Here's what it's going to look like. Of course, when we're finished, the old building will be the center point. The brickwork, we're on the verge of picking out bricks. We're not going to be able to get bricks that look exactly like the old bricks, but the old brick and the new brick will meet at the corner, and it's going to be a nice merger. We've got 4 or 5 different types of bricks we're looking at, but the majority of the project development board that's in charge of this thing has pretty much settled on one called Blair. I don't know what's that mean, I don't know, but it looks good. We have meant to pick out everything on the inside. It's going to have walnut throughout. It's going to have historic fixtures in the building. We're going to try to make the old building capture some of the flavor of the history that has been Oldham County. It'll probably wind up being actually much better than it ever was before, but this is supposed to stand for 150 years. Probably everybody in here knows the budget went from about 22 to $43 million. It's not our fault. Everything is escalated. The architects, because this has got an old building in the middle, it's called a restoration project, even though only 10% of the building is historic, 90% is brand new. Nevertheless, the architects, instead of getting 7.5%, get 9% on a restoration project. So a lot of little things crept in that have pushed the cost up. But we picked out all the interior floor, the carpeting, like say lights are being worked on right now. A lot of detail, all the way down to the fact that the partitions in the restrooms will be blue. So we couldn't get a UK red, but we did get sort of a blue, and it's not really a U of L red. Well, it's not actually a UK blue either. That's a nice blue. Just gonna go forward. Okay, this is not. These pictures are totally scrambled up, so that's not the one I wanted next. Let's go to the next courthouse picture here. Can you do that? All right, we didn't. Can you go back to the? There you go. That we just saw that one. I think. Try the next one. All right, and that's what it's going to look like. The PowerPoint worked in my office, but it doesn't work on this computer for some reason. So go back to the. Let's see what's go up to the top there and just go right down. Across the street, we're building this animal control building. The one we had was pretty decrepit. It was just out of gas. Everything was wrung out of it that could be. So this is a new building here. It's going to go right up across the street from where we are now. It's coming out of the ground now. We should have a groundbreaking about late March, early April. It's going to be pretty much a state of the art. And people in the county want their animals taken care of when they're picked up, and they will be here. Go ahead. All right, you can see this is just groundbreaking across the street there. Another one. Okay. All right, that picture there, I'll get to later at what that is. Now let's go down. Let's go to. Everybody knows that Kroger is coming. Okay. I want to make clear Kroger is supposed to open sometime at the end by the end of the year is what we've been told. Next picture. Maybe tonight. There we go. We're making an entrance into the Kroger coming north on Highway 393. There is one exit in. Here it is. Again, you're not going to be able to come out this way, however. The highway department won't let that happen. Believe it or not, to get this curb cut, it's called, Kroger had to pay $110,000 transportation cabinet to be allowed to put this in. They're paying for the installation as well. But they say that's how much the property value increased on $110,000 by having this entrance here. There's another thing across the street, a gas station called Wawa, that's been looking hard at us from Florida, this gas station. I don't know what they're going to do, but when you go into Kroger here and you come out, you got the gas pumps going now. Yes, there is a McDonald's here, but the exit from this is going to be down the street on Commerce Parkway from McDonald's. There's gonna be a light there. You'll have to come out and turn right or left on the Commerce Parkway. If you're gonna turn left, you'll have to come down and then take another direction when you get to the 393 intersection. We've asked the Transportation Cabinet to put a roundabout in there because we think that would make a lot more sense than all these lights in a relatively close space. But that's still hanging up in the air. Let's see here. Okay, this is Schomback Park down in Westport. It used to be called Westport Park, but now called Schomback Park. The reason it's called Schomback Park is that we took 6 houses out of there. We could not get one particular piece of property, an old cement block building in that park, and the family wouldn't let it go. So one day I suggested to them, if we call this Schomback Park, would you sell us this building? So they did. So that's why it's called Schomback Park. A lot of people refer to it as Westport, but it was right there along the river and we couldn't do much about it. We have taken these buildings out, and this is the restroom of a new facility that's coming. Here is the pavilion. The pavilion, there's going to be a couple of smaller pavilions around the property as well. It's not easy to get to Westport, but we do think the Ohio River scene along Westport is really certainly one of the most beautiful in our entire county. So we have this pavilion and that restroom coming. All right. Across the street over here, we've got our Oldham County pool. You've probably heard about the pool. Well, the pool has been leaking for many years, but it wasn't leaking enough to really jump in and try to fix it until the year before COVID. I believe 1 month we had a $10,000 water bill. That had a fire hose running in the thing there all the time. We don't know where that water was going. It was leaking out, but maybe it was going into the prison lake. It just was no clear explanation where it was going. So the Parks Department, Parks Committee that is, wanted to get another pool. And we looked at ripping the entire thing out or fixing what we had. Frankly, I was for ripping the whole thing out, but I'm 1 vote out of 9 on the fiscal court. And the majority wanted to fix what we've had. So you see this, where the white area, cement area is, that's where the old lap lane is. But these things holding it up along the side there were all rusted out. So we had to dig everything out. That put another $200,000 on that project. And we've had, the pool has gone to about $4.5 million. I personally think we ought to have an indoor, year-round swimming facility in our county that maybe has an outdoor feature and an indoor feature. We have 3 swimming teams in this county. They have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go somewhere else, Jefferson County, I guess. We can do better than we're doing, but I can't get the majority of the fiscal court to buy into that at this point. Here are off ramps for the interstate. I believe they're going to be open by the end of the year. This one here is coming off 393 heading north. Here's another one that's going up. You see the fencing there past the health department. And there's another one that's going the other way that apparently won't come up as well. These off ramps are helping us a lot. We've had a lot of activity and interest in our office park since the ramps have begun their construction. Before that, we're dragging our, just couldn't quite get the interest, but we've got something moving forward in our office park. The office park is going to have some housing in it. I've not been a big fan of that. It's going to be a multi-family housing to begin with. We wanted jobs in there, good jobs that hire local people and help with our occupational tax. The Rawlings Company generates about $1.5 million a year of occupational tax, which is split between the city and the county, and that's helped a whole lot. So the Rawlings Company was kind of like a grand slam out of the gate 10 years ago, and everything else looks not as attractive next to that. But our office partners, Oldham Reserve partners, are are making progress on getting some people coming in there, and we may have another grocery store coming in as well, but I can't see much about it. I tried to put a lot of trees along Highway 146. It's an unusual corridor. It's a beautiful stretch between LaGrange and Crestwood. We've got this vacant railroad and right-of-way property there, so we probably put 300 trees in there. We just put 80 in here recently, smaller ones. I hope they all grow up to look as nice as these, and that when the younger people in the room think about this 20 years from now, I hope they see a nice parkway. I won't be here to see it, but I've tried to lay the groundwork for it. And we want trees in our county, and they help the environment, of course, but also beautify our county. The business people that come here and look at Oldham County, and many of the visitors do, drive this stretch, and they certainly have an impression of what our county is about when they see something nice. I've been criticized for mowing the stretch between Crestwood and LaGrange. A few people have said, well, you're wasting county money. The state ought to do it. Believe me, you can't get the state to do it. They'll do it twice a year. There'll be weeds everywhere. It just won't look nice. So we've tried to put a nice touch on this that will say something to people when they're here. We're trying to get a little more lodging in our community. I think we're going to get some at Crestwood with floor stages, have plans for a hotel, particularly when the hospital goes into the I-71, the 329 exit area. If you haven't been behind the hospital lately, they're building a huge building, which is their Baptist statewide pharmacy distribution center. They're hiring about 150 pharmacists to work in that building. It's a nice looking building. It's off the ground. If you drive behind the hospital, you haven't been there lately, I'm surprised to see that. So that's coming. Anything? Let's see, we did the pool, did the ramps. Okay, go up to that beeline march here. What's this all about? Well, even though I'm from Minnesota, I've been very interested in the history of our local area. When I grew up in my town in Minnesota, nobody ever told me. They told me all about Minnesota history, but nobody ever told me anything about the county I was from or the city I was from. And so I knew a lot of people realized that William Oldham, this county is named after him, but who is this guy? What was he about? So I've tried to look into this and raise a level of pride in our community by saying our community was named after a person who fought in the Civil War, not Civil War, but the Revolutionary War. And I started trying to find some of the history of this person. When the Battle of Boston came up, the Continental Congress asked for riflemen, those guys who could shoot the Kentucky long rifle. They asked for 10 units from Pennsylvania and Virginia and one other state. And there were two groups from Virginia that formed in Western Virginia to go to Washington's aid in Boston. And this is one of these groups, and this is called the Beeline March. And I found that the Colonel William Oldham, who was just like a sergeant at that point, was in this Beeline March from Western Virginia. They walked to Boston in 21 days to support George Washington. Well, I don't think that, I could walk to Boston in 21 days now on a highway, but they did overland and they made it. There were two groups and they had a competition, and Oldham's group that he was in, which was led by Daniel Morgan. Morgan County in Kentucky is named after General Morgan. So Oldham was in this group, went up and fought in the Revolutionary War. Later was in the Battle of Monmouth Courthouse and several battles up there, and served until 1779. Let me have another one of those. Would you do this next picture? I think it's pretty interesting. The one about the Battle of Wabash. Oldham came down the Ohio River in about 1779, and as he's coming along the river, he meets a guy named Colonel William Oh, name went off the top of my head. Thomas Jefferson appointed this guy to be the laid out the streets in the city of Louisville, and Oldham met him. I want to say Poor or Polk or something like that, and I can't just draw it off the top of my head. But anyway, he married this guy's daughter, and then he became very prominent in Jefferson County politics. Was a magistrate and a sheriff at one time. Had a house right on Main Street where the statue of David is, next to a house owned by Squire Boone, Daniel Boone's brother, way back in the day. But when the Ohio country came up to be opened and settlers were trying to move into Ohio, Indians resisted it terrifically. And so militias were formed in Pennsylvania and Virginia and Kentucky to support the army, which wasn't that big at that point. William Oldham was put in charge of the Kentucky militia of 1,000 people. And he went over up to Cincinnati, and then they went north to the area around the Wabash River. Well, when they were camped around the Wabash River, unbeknownst to the army and these militias at night, they were surrounded by about 1,400 Indians. And at the dawn one morning, all the Indians attacked, and Colonel Oldham was killed in that initial attack. This picture kind of captures some of that. But one thing that's really interesting about this is that you see on the right here a Frenchman talking to an Indian. That Indian was actually a young boy from the Falls of the Ohio, who had been captured by the Miami Indians and taken north as a 7 or 8-year-old and raised as the son of the Miami chief Little Turtle. His name was William Wells, and he's fighting as an Indian in this battle. On the Kentucky militia side of the battle, his brother, Captain Samuel Wells, is also in this fight. And later, after this battle was over, they were reunited, and William Wells came back to the settler side, let's say, and became basically an Indian agent. He was later killed by Indians himself outside Fort Dearborn, which was downtown Chicago now. And if you've ever been to Chicago, Michigan Avenue is the main street, but one street over is Wells Street, and that's named after this young man from the Falls of the Ohio, William Wells. Another interesting thing about the Wells family was that they had a sister named Betsy Wells, and Betsy Wells was one of 6 women who joined with Catherine Spaulding to form the Sisters of Charity of Nazareth, that was now, emerged eventually into Spaulding College. Take one more there, which is Fort Recovery. Okay. After the Battle of the Wabash, during that battle, the Americans were beat so badly by the Indians, about 600 soldiers were killed, that the army turned and ran for their lives. And there were no one was picked up and taken with them. The dead were left where they lay. So 2 years later, George Washington sent General Anthony Wayne back to this same area to reestablish American control over it and pick up all the dead bodies. And they were all put into this monument in 1902 by Congress. And William Oldham was the second rank leading or highest officer killed in the Battle of Wabash. And he and others are all buried at the base of this monument at Fort Recovery, Ohio. So I got so far into this that, I was going to Cave Hill Cemetery, and I went out here to take this picture. I was the only person there that day, but was glad to learn something about why our county has who this county is named after. The one thing I've never been able to find out, or not haven't given up yet, is who in the legislature actually recommended this county be named Oldham County. And I think it had to have been some of Oldham's relatives who were very prominent back in the early days of Jefferson County. So I want to mention a couple other things here. I take some questions. We've got a couple of minutes. We're putting lights in this ballpark that Mark Beeman has worked in. We've got 4 lighting system down there. We've got about $400,000 of lights going in there. We're remodeling the Methodist Church uptown to be a reception center. You may see it taped off right now with caution tape because the steeple on the thing we found out is sitting on a rotting base. That steeple is going to have to be taken off and the base underneath it redone. What about this 146 and Highway 393 here in Crestwood? You can see the piping going in. We think next year the LG&E and KU, the gas company, are all going to move their utilities. And we have money in the bank, had it for several years, to go underneath Highway 146. They won't create an intersection there like Crestwood and McDonald's, where you go underneath the railroad track and go down to past this building, down to, or I guess it'd be over here, to where the community center is. So we're ready to go. We're just waiting for the utilities to make their move. Utilities, you just can't get them to move on short notice. They have plans that extend 2 and 3 years in advance. And it took a long time for CSX, the highway department, and the utilities all to agree on what the plan was going to be there. These plans are, a foot thick when you get into them. So that is coming very soon. And we just approved the fiscal court the other night, a new bypass in Crestwood from near Stockyards Bank down to Veterans Parkway. I think that's going to eliminate at least some of the afternoon backup there. So a couple of minutes left for questions. Today was the day I wasn't going to be here today because this was the day my knee surgery was scheduled for total knee replacement, but that went bang in the night, and it's next month, October 10th. So I'm limping along, but I'm okay.
I missed it. What was the completion date for the courthouse?
Oh yeah, sorry. Well, you didn't miss it. I didn't say it.
Oh.
It's 2 years from
2 years.
right. Believe it or not, 2 more years. So
And part 2, every day we hear about the railroad tracks in Crestwood, the semis going over them. Is there anything that we've done in that area?
I would hope so. I mean, you can't get Crestwood, CSX, and the highway department to agree on what they're going to do there. Okay, the highway department, that's a state highway, goes right over those tracks. CSX has been asked to lower the tracks. They say they won't do it. They'd have to work a mile in each direction to lower the track right there. Old pictures from years ago show those tracks were not as high as they are today, but can't get them to do anything about it. Can't get the highway department to agree. Crestwood does not want that road closed. It's really not a county. We've tried to support. We've created several meetings of people to sit down and talk about this, but I don't know. There's a place in the ground. We found a place to put a pole with an arm sticking out over the road. You can't always just go dig everywhere in the ground, even because there's a lot of stuff underground. You have no idea what's there till you start calling. Where is this? Where is that? So I'd like to see it done. Ask Mayor Kramer, please do something, because it's really not a county. I'll be glad to help, but it's not something that we control.
Back to the courthouse. So as I look at, I'm trying to figure out what has been salvaged from the original courthouse that is there right now.
Okay.
I mean, I see the outside brick, but that looks like big. The only thing I see is I don't understand.
Right. Well, there was not. We have the railing from in the courthouse. The railing that went upstairs to the second floor from the front door, but it's curved. That railing will be displayed. We'll have museum cases in there displaying some historical things that the History Society has. To be perfectly, we had a vault in there, but a couldn't do much with that. There were large, I guess 12-foot doors that were bought at an auction. To be just blunt about it, our forefathers didn't really, they put up a functional building, but there wasn't anything of any, other than the railing, really unique historical character in there worth hanging on to. We're gonna put pictures in there. We're gonna get things from the history society. We're gonna make it more historical because we have more appreciation of history now than maybe they did when they built that. So it is just the brick shell, but most people know the Project Development Board is not going to keep that. The Chief Justice of the Kentucky Supreme Court received hundreds of emails demanding that that building be kept. And we were basically told as a board that our project would not be approved if we didn't keep the historical building. So we got pushed into a corner. But since we're going to keep it, we're going to make it the best we can possibly make. And within our reason. Anyone else have?
Where's the old Henry bypass going to go to after they get across that?
Well, I guess you're supposed to zigzag over
Over what?
over that, there's a street there, but it's got, we widened it, what is it?
Oh.
I can't think of
Holly
it.
Gibson?
Yeah, Holly Gibson. There was a plan to go from Ash Avenue over to 22, but I believe that I don't want to say the name, but let's just say that the farm there that controls most of that property did not agree to let us go through.
One more.
Hey, Judge,
Yes,
thanks for the new lights. Appreciate it. Good luck with your journey.
well, thank you. I'm, John Black's no salesman for it. He just had it and he told me how much this really hurts, so. But everybody says it hurts, but they all survive it, so I guess I hope I will too.
There you go.
All right.
Thank you. On my end, honestly, when I was here 32 years, I'd say 3 out of 4 speakers moved up to forward to it, so.
And all your service to our county. This is a coin to, has a 4-way test on it, a small gift, and also we'll make a donation to Polio Plus in your name. And this is a way of saying thank you for today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Good. Sure. Good. Oh. Thank you, Ray.
Went ahead, Liberty.
All right, we've got grades.
Ready? Our number is 007.
Whoever was after me.
Oh.
Michael, hold on, let's see, got it.
Spin her away, buddy.
She's out there, right?
Put page 50.
Oh.
Oh, no. Come on. Come on. Pizza. Over 500.
All right, let's go and make the world a better place to live. Thank you. Have a good week. See you next week. Oh.
At the board meeting, somebody at the board meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Somebody sent it to five.
Well, friend project, and 3 years, 5 years. Don't want there to be additional kind of that, so like. Oh. We're setting it up. We're setting up the meeting.
Works for me. I've got a lot of junk here.
So are you basically the treasurer?
No, I don't have access to the software system, but I'm doing a lot of the deposits and everything else. I did run over to, I ran over to the high school today and delivered the check for the interact codes.
Yeah, for last year.
Yeah, that's why